Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 859. 859. August the 6th, 2019. Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the news of the day. Okay, let's get started right here. Okay, so I stumbled across this, and I haven't heard this anywhere, but I stumbled across this article, and it's like a week old. Don't know how I missed it. But I don't know how many of you have heard this, but here you go. Well, it appears that Peter's been stroking us. That's Peter Strzok, for those of you who are new to my channel. Peter's been stroking us. Has been seen a lot lately at the FBI headquarters building. Been stroking us has also been seen across the street where the FBI and DOJ also have another building where they conduct business, have meetings and things. It appears that he's still got a badge, an access badge to the FBI facilities. It appears that he even has still got his security clearance. It appears he's been taking part in meetings for the past several weeks. Of course, Peter's been stroking us was fired August 8th of 2018, just about a year ago. And it is suspected that he has been in these meetings with FBI officials so that they can get their story straight. Not to mention, there have been high-level DOJ brass also attending these briefings. Here's the big question. Why? Why? Certainly, Christopher No Shit Sherlock Ray has to be aware of this. I don't know how high up the chain it had to go to get this authorized, and exactly how long this has been going on, and why it's going on, but somebody needs to be asking some questions. Now, Bill Barr is head of the Justice Department, and I don't know if he's aware of this or not. I can't imagine he would tolerate it. I know if I was the head of the DOJ and I found out that Peter's been stroking us, was attending meetings at FBI headquarters, still had his badge, still had his security clearance, was also meeting across the street at another building with FBI and high-level DOJ people, I would be kind of curious as to who the hell's behind this. What DOJ high-level officials? What FBI officials? And who knew about this? Who authorized this? What are they doing? Why would they need... He's been fired! I'm trying to think of a situation where a previous employee where I work who's been fired has been brought back to attend meetings. Usually when you get fired where I work, they take your badge immediately and they escort you to the door. And you generally aren't seen back. And you're certainly not in any high-level meetings. There was some bad mojo, man. There was some bad I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm trying my best to have a tremendous amount of confidence and some faith in Attorney General Barr. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a big organization. They have a lot of people. Attorney General Barr cannot probably micromanage every single aspect of the daily goings-on at the FBI and the DOJ. But something like this is a priority. This is not like, one of those sticky notes that you put on your file cabinet that something you need to get to whenever you get around to it, and you just never get around to it. This seems to be something of a higher priority. If I'm the Attorney General, I'd be calling No Shit Sherlock Ray and saying, what the hell is Strzok doing with a pass, with a visitor's badge? What's he doing in the headquarters building? What's he doing across the street? And what DOJ officials are meeting with him? And why? What are we doing? We fired him for good cause. In fact, he's one of the principal people we're investigating now for some serious crimes. And probably some of those people also in the DOJ and FBI who were in those meetings with him. It's very, very hard for a person like myself, and probably many of you, to rationalize what's going on here. It doesn't make any sense. How about loose Lisa Page? Is she with him? Is she still there? Oh, that's right. She's over there at Lawfare. She's over there at Lawfare. Working from the other side. That's where it all started. As has been said many times by me, other people, including people in my comment section on these videos, this is a very serious situation. AG Barr cannot let this stuff slide. This was a coup. First, they used literally every tool that they had to try to prevent Trump from winning. Then once he did win, they staged a coup. And they're still trying it. Who do you think is behind the Penguin? Nadler. Who do you think? Do you think Jerry Nadler is smart enough to figure any of this out? To put together a strategy? Look at the man. He's a freaking dope. We know that as soon as the Democrats took over Congress, a bunch of these individuals, former FBI, DOJ people, working at Lawfare, went over and joined the Congressional Democrat team. And they have been the ones who've been doing the real behind-the-scenes work to get the impeachment. Do you think those Democrats in that hearing with Uncle Bob, the drive-by executioner, wrote the answers to those questions? I don't think so. I think those questions were written by these folks who come over from Lawfare blog. They're running the damn Democratic Party from behind the scenes. Running the impeachment effort, certainly. I don't know if they deal with legislation or care about it. They have only one thing on their mind. And remember, we've now traced them all the way back to the origins of this. This is where all these people come from. All these DOJ people that we talk about all the time are connected at the hip if they have not worked at some time for Lawfare. Some of them are working now for Lawfare. Most of the ones who left or got fired, Loose Lisa Page, Rybicki, and all these people, they all went right to work at Lawfare. They're still working on the coup. They're just doing it from another building. And they probably still have access to all that stuff. And here we find out that Peter's been stroking us. Still got his clearance. He could have been working at home and accessing anything he wanted. The DOJ has an investigation going on. And here we have Peter's been stroking us, probably Loose Lisa Page, still probably have full access to their systems. The people over at Lawfare probably have full access. Barr running his investigation, hell, they're probably reading his notes every day. If he's crazy enough to put him in the system, and he probably is. Okay, well, we'll see what comes from this. If anyone else covers it, I don't know. Maybe Hannity will cover it. Maybe some member of Congress will. Maybe Nunes will be asked about it. Maybe Graham will be asked. Maybe somebody should ask somebody about it. Okay, let's move on to something a little lighter before I start getting angry. Well, it looks like San Francisco, if you're going to be traveling to San Francisco, I don't know if you want to wear flowers in your hair, but you probably want to bring along a shovel. A pooper scooper in a bag. Maybe. Maybe a pogo stick. Saying boing, 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 boing. So you can do the hoppity skip, jump sort of deal over the piles of poop. That will be human poop. Now, my guess is in San Francisco, if you're walking your dog down the street and he poops on the street, they probably SWAT raid you or cuff you and throw you in a paddy wagon. But humans, okay. But if your dog poops on the street, you're probably getting a ticket, maybe going to jail or something. But now you can squat down there and poop on the street. That's no problem. That's no problem. Dogs can't poop on the street anymore. Nope. Not without a penalty. But in San Francisco, their owners can poop on the street. Maybe what we need to see in San Francisco, and again, this could very well happen. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, this would be something crazy, like Mad Magazine or something. But in this day and age in San Francisco, I think it's perfectly reasonable that you could see a poodle walking their owner down the street, and you could watch the owner hiking their leg at the traffic light pole and pooping on the curb while the poodle watches. Maybe we'll see that. But if you are going to San Francisco, make sure that you are well hydrated before you get there, because once you get there, you will no longer be able to buy a plastic bottle of water. Now, maybe they'll start making water in glass bottles. That's what we used to be. We used to use glass bottles, and then in a lot of states, you could actually turn them in for money, because when we were kids, we actually used to do that. We'd go around and collect up pop bottles and stuff and take them to the store, and we get like 5 cents for a pop bottle, and we'd buy candy with it. So that's what we used to do when we were kids. But no, you will not be able to buy a bottled water in the airport in San Francisco. And by the way, those paper straws are not recyclable. Of course, you won't be needing a paper straw because you won't be able to buy anything to drink. Because just about all those drinks now come in plastic bottles. Other than even Gatorade now is in plastic. They were like the last holdout where you could actually buy a glass bottle. So I guess I don't know what you're going to be able to drink in, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to bring back glass. That's a problem too. Glass bottles, of course. That crazy place, I wouldn't want those people having glass bottles in San Francisco. Glass bottle can be a weapon. So you can't use plastic. You probably won't be able to use glass. I'm not sure what you'll be able to drink out of in San Francisco. But again, like I said, you will not be able to buy, just keep this in mind, if you go to San Francisco Airport, you will not be able to buy a bottled water. But when you walk out the door of the airport, be sure that you have along a pooper scooper in a bag, because you'll still have to step over human feces, as well as probably dirty needles, homeless people, and the like. So, there you go. Well, it looks like the skateboarder Robert O'Rourke came unhinged when a reporter asked him about what Trump should say about the mass shootings or something, and he just kind of went Looney Tunes, started dropping various curse words, including the F-bomb, to reporters, and of course then he went off on another rant after that, when he was actually speaking to a group of supporters, telling Trump to stay out of El Paso. Stay out of El Paso. Who exactly is Beto to tell the president to stay out of El Paso? Trump's over El Paso. Skateboarder. He's the president of the United States. And El Paso's in Texas. It's one of the 50 states. Trump is the president of the 50 states. You, skateboarder, are nobody. A loser. Outspins Ted Cruz 2-1, loses, and then decides that's a good reason to run for president. Now he's polling around, what, 3-4%? The last time he lost, he went out to the desert. He didn't just go out in the desert and eat some dirt. No, no, no. He brought his family along and made them eat dirt too. Or I think actually brought the dirt home. Brought the dirt home. And, yeah. So, I don't know what Beto's going to do this time, when he's finally drummed out of the field. what he'll be eating this time, maybe we can send him to San Francisco and he can eat some dirt off the street. Maybe clean things up a little bit. Maybe he'll have a purpose in life then, because he certainly has none now. He's a dope. That's basically the bottom line. The guy's a dope. And we're stuck with him. I can't wait till this primary season's over. I hope I never, ever hear the name Beto again. Ever. Well, here's something for you visually. It's always nice to have a nice visual in the course of the video. So how about this? It appears that Victoria's Secret has just hired its first transgender model. First transgender model. Now, many of us are big fans of Victoria's Secret. It's a little pricey, but if your girlfriend says, hey, or your wife, hey, why don't you give me a couple $100 and I'll go on down to Victoria's Secrets. I'll get hooked up. Well, that usually is good news for you, or for me in my case. If you're a guy, it's usually good news. Wife's coming home, girlfriend's coming home with lingerie. Well, that generally can produce some good times for those of us who kind of enjoy that sort of thing. And hey, who doesn't like an attractive woman and some lacy stuff? It's all right with me, being a heterosexual and all. But the thought of a man in lacy stuff is a little troubling. It's a little troubling. So are they going to have all the Victoria's Secret models coming down the runway, showing off the lingerie, this little lacy thing here, this little lacy thing there? Everybody's like, oh yeah, check that out. Ooh, that's so great, man. Then all of a sudden, coming down the runway, it's like a 6'3" God knows what, and a lacy thong with a bulge. With a bulge. Let's just hope that it's not excited from all the visuals around. Can you think of a more troubling circumstance than to see the transgender coming down the runway in the lacy thong with the bulge? Not good. Not good. I may have just destroyed romanticism for thousands of people for the rest of our lives, including me. I may never be able to actually enjoy lingerie on my girlfriend again. Because now I'll be thinking about the transgender and the bulge. So the next time she says, hey honey, give me $200, I'll go down to Victoria's Secret, I'll be like, hell no. Hell no. Let's go down to Lowe's. They sell coveralls there, overalls. That's what we'll get. Some boots and some overalls. Maybe one of those raincoats. Something. Anything but lingerie. Now that I've ruined my life, let's continue. Let's see. Well, what do we have here? The former director of the Federal Bureau of I'm With Her, the former communist, the massive criminal, James Comey, has penned another New York Times op-ed. And of course, you can imagine what that's about. It's about Trump being a white supremacist. Man, oh man, I do not know how Trump can sit by and allow Barr to let this guy slide off the hook. That's why I said, man, yeah, I know they want a bigger fish. I get that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I know that they may want to get a bigger fish, and there's two bigger fish bigger than Comey. One of them would be named Get Back Loretta Lynch, and the other would be, of course, Barack Hussein Obama. Two other bigger fish that you could use Comey as bait to get them. And I understand that there may be more serious crimes, and that, in fact, the leaking of the information may not even be the worst crime. It may be something, it may be an issue, maybe it'd be a difficult one to get a conviction on, blah, 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 all the whole 9 yards. I get it. But on the other hand, this guy is just, He's taunting, is what I would say. He's taunting the president. He's taunting Barr. He's taunting Mr. Durham. He's taunting all of us. He's saying, nah, 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 see, I can pull off a coup. I can do anything I want. And nobody will touch me. I don't know how Barr can take it. I would have SWAT raided his ass. I would have Roger Stoned him, man. Right now. They go to his house to get documents that he moved from the FBI, which is a crime. Which is a crime. We covered the statute in two videos ago. 18 U.S.C. 196. Removing materials from the FBI is a crime. Took him to his house. The FBI goes to his house. Yeah, Mr. Comey, we need to come in and take a look around. Oh, could you please, give us some coffee and then go find some documents or whatever that you removed from the FBI? That's the treatment he gets. Had that been Roger Stone, or any of us, or probably anyone associated with Trump, they would have got SWAT raided. And that's exactly what... See, the way I look at this, I want to me, Barr said equal justice. I know what equal means. An apple equals an apple. A banana equals a banana. An apple does not equal a banana. A watermelon does not equal a walnut. No, no, no. Equal. Like things. Manafort gets put in solitary confinement. Papadopoulos gets whisked away from the airport, chained to a wall, and harassed for 24 hours before he's even told what he's charged with. Roger Stone gets SWAT raided. Comey gets a friendly visit from the FBI. Could you please give us those documents that you removed illegally from the FBI? No, that's not equal justice. I want them treated the way that they treated the other people. I want them treated the way they treated people who were literally innocent. With the exception of Manafort, who likely and presumably did engage in some activities, but probably nothing more than any other lobbyist in Washington does. But in the case of Papadopoulos, Roger Stone, what's his name? Caputo, also even Corsi, they really did nothing wrong. The crimes they were charged with, including that lawyer over in England. Process crimes. Crimes that wouldn't have existed without the investigation. And the investigation was based on bullshit and fraud and lies and smear. Yet they get to SWAT raid. Comey gets a friendly knock at the door. Could you please give us the documents you stole from the FBI? And then he walks. Yeah, this is why I have a problem with it. And I understand the other side of the arguments. Just drive you nuts. Hey, but here's the good news. Here's the good news. The good news is that it looks like Michael Avenatti, the creepy porn lawyer, despite the fact that he's facing at least 40, I think it's over 40 charges, if not all of them, felonies, he's now saying that he's not ruled out the 2020 run. Now, in normal times, that would be a laugher. I mean, that would be a belly ripper right there. That would be you roll around on the floor, your stomach hurts for an hour later, you're laughing so hard. But in this field of demo commies, and in this day and age we live in now, the idea that Avenatti may slide into this situation is perfectly reasonable. That could very well happen. I would not doubt it at all. The creepy porn lawyer throws his hat in. He's watching that field too. He's going, man, there ain't nobody up there that can touch Trump. The only guy up there that's even close is Biden, and he'll get destroyed. The only reason he's even holding his front runner position because everyone else is so bad. And he's got name recognition. He was a former VP. But he's a mess. He's a hot mess. Avenatti's thinking, man, I'm pretty weak. I'm a mess myself, but I'm not as bad off as these characters. At least I got some game. At least I got some, some action. So I don't know. Maybe Stormy Saggy Daniels will be his VP. There you go. In fact, that's what the Democrats should do for 2020. That should be the ticket. I mean, if you're going to go ahead and you're going to go out and be a complete freak show, why limit yourself? Why not go for the gusto? Go for the gold. Go for the gold. Creepy porn lawyer and Saggy Daniels 2020. There you go. Now that would be funny. That would be the 2020 election I want to see. Trump in 3 debates with the creepy porn lawyer. And Pence, Mike Pence. I just thought of that. Mike Pence in a debate with Saggy Daniels. Now, that would be funny. I mean, that would be absolutely hilarious. So, I don't know what to tell you, folks. I don't know, where to go sometimes, with this stuff. I mean, it's whatever it is that you do to keep yourself sane and reasoned, do some of that tonight. I know I will. Whatever it is. Maybe it's 4 shots of the good stuff. Maybe it's a couple of big bong hits. Maybe it's some shrooms. Maybe it's some acid. I don't know what it is that you do. Some cookies and warm milk. A belly rub. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is that makes you feel better and keeps you sane, you may need to do it this evening. That's where we are. Now, let's get on to a little more serious thing to finish up this video. Again, this idea that they let Comey slide, and I understand. I've heard the explanations now more than I care to count. But I do believe, and I may be the biggest sucker on the planet at this point, I don't know. But I do believe that Horowitz, when we finally see his report, if we ever see his report on the FISA, is going to be a major problem, not just for Comey, but for everyone who signed on the warrants. And of course, I went through the list of people. What was strange about those 4 warrants on Carter Page is that, you would think that they got the first warrant and then they got the 3 after that, renewals. You think that the same people that got the original warrant would be the people that get the renewals, but that's not the case. Remember, I went through this. Who got the first warrant, second warrant, third warrant, fourth warrant. It was all different people. So you got a lot of people, 2 or 3 key people, high-level people, FBI, DOJ, on each of those warrants. Comey, of course, the worst one was the first one. But also, each one after that's a bad one too, because in order to get the renewal, you have to convince the judge that that you gained information from the first warrant or the previous warrant, you learned enough from the previous warrant that it justifies getting a second warrant or extending the warrant or renewing the warrant. So each time that they got the renewal, they had to say something or provide some evidence that the original or the previous warrant had turned up something that would justify another extension, a 90-day extension. And no one's ever talked about what that would be. I think there are going to be a lot of problems for Comey when the Inspector General puts out his report. And keep in mind, Huckleberry Horowitz, he is the custodian. His job is to clean up the mess. But, in all fairness, he was the one that released a lot of the first round of documents. The first time he did his report, he's the one who really authorized the release of a lot of that stuff. I imagine as soon as his report comes out, a lot of other things that he'll release and make public. And he did make the criminal referrals against McCabe. I don't like the conclusion he drew from his first report, but he did make 3 criminal referrals on Andy McCabe, and he just made 4 criminal referrals on Comey. It wasn't Huckleberry Horowitz that decided not to prosecute. He made the criminal referrals, and that's all he can do. Huber apparently did want to prosecute, but apparently Barr said no. So I kind of understand. I'm not going to go through it. I've had it explained to me. I know what the reasons are. But I'm watching very, very closely here, and my patience is just about gone. It's just about gone at this point. If Horowitz releases his report, which we're expecting sometime in September, we keep being told that. If Horowitz releases his report and he does point out the crimes, and I can't imagine that he can put out his report and not show the criminal activity that went down regarding the FISA. We already know what was used to get the FISA, and we know that it was not true, not verified. And there were multiple people involved in those decisions. If Horowitz releases that report, it says, yeah, here's criminal referrals for this person, for this person, for this, and he lists a bunch of criminal referrals, and those individuals are not charged, are not indicted, and they should be freaking SWAT rated. I want equal justice under the law. I want these people treated the way that they treated the people they were wrongly investigating. Now, these are legitimate investigations. So, that's when my patience will probably run out. That's where I'll probably blow a fuse. If, in fact, they have overwhelming evidence from the Horowitz report showing the crimes that were committed, the criminal referrals are there, and they do. I will literally be furious if, in fact, these individuals, as we've talked about before, these people cannot walk. You cannot let this happen. If they can get away with this, they can get away with anything. And it will be actually time to consider possibly a move to, I don't know where you go. I really don't know where you go. This is it, man. This is the last best hope on earth. A lot writing on this. I certainly hope Mr. Barr understands. Papagalopoulos. Papagalopoulos has tweeted out a photo of Alexander Down the Hatch Downer sitting right next to Stefan Halper, the fat man. And this photo was taken 1 week before Halper and Downer, or rather Halper and this Azra Turk, where that's the name she goes by, made contact with Papagalopoulos. It's a very, very clear photo, a large picture. There's absolutely no doubt. Here you have Halper standing at a podium, seated right next to him is another deep stater, British intelligence, and right next to him is Downer, Alexander Down the Hatch Downer, meaning Downer and Halper were together exactly 1 week before they ran the little frame-up, setup job on Papagalopoulos. Now we know, or at least we've been told from John Solomon, that Mifsud has turned over this deposition, where according to his attorney, Stephen Rowe, he admits to being a Western intelligence asset and being part of this plot to lay some bait out there and see if Papagalopoulos would take the bait to try to get information from Russians. Is this part of this counterintelligence operation? And as I've said before, so that means Halper invites Papagalopoulos to London. Halper's buddies there at Cambridge tell Pops that he has to go to Italy to meet this guy who's going to help him out with a lot of contacts. That would be Mifsud. Then after that, Mifsud drops the stuff on Pops. He goes back to London, where he then is taken out to dinner by Halper, who tries to get Papagalopoulos to, admit that he'd like to get the stuff from Russia so that it'd help the campaign. Of course, Papagalopoulos says, no, that'd be treason, so I'd never do anything like that. Let's don't ever talk about this again. So it's a fail on the part of Halper, the fat man. So what happens next? Well, the highest-ranking diplomat from Australia working in the UK wants to sit down and talk to Papagalopoulos. Why would the highest-ranking diplomat in Australia have any interest whatsoever in sitting down with an unpaid campaign volunteer for Trump, whom he hated, whose policies he despised? It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you guys. Bye.